Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to take a look at the final submissions for the Independence Day for Independent Characters Hobby Challenge. This was the most recent hobby challenge we did as part of the PMP, the Google Plus Hobby Focus community. If you want to join, the link is down below so you can join up. The only requirement is that you love to paint any kind of models and that you want to take the next step on your own personal hobby journey. So, with that little preamble aside, let's get into some great final submissions for everybody who's here. A link to the survey to vote will be in the description. Feel free to go there and vote. That survey will be open until August the 14th at midnight. So you have until next Sunday, if you're, well, as of when I'm recording this, that is to say August 14th at midnight. That's when the survey closes and the winners will be determined. Alright, let's see what we got. First up, we've got I Don't Know 46 with his big old Vermin Lord. Now, what I think's fun about this one is he just threw all the arms on there he could. I've seen a couple people do the 4-armed or 6-armed, Vermin Lords, and I love that. I love that conversion. You know, they're a weird chaos demon creature. No reason why we should limit ourselves, and he's clearly done that here. It's a really great take on it. I love this kit, and I think he did a great job. And way to build up a super awesome base. Look at that murky, gross water down there with like some with the extra bits and leaves and detritus in there. It's fantastic. Love it. All right, next up we've got a newer member of the hobby of the PMP community. That's Jacob Crivello. And he's got his Drycha, his finished Drycha model. Obviously, I'm painting up some Sylvaneth myself. I love the way he used some bright pink here to really set off the model to contrast with that green and the yellow of the beehives. So, super bright. And again, with the fantastic scenic basing, the water effects, he's got some nice ripples in there and such. Really great work. So, yeah, Jacob, I know you just joined, and this is, a newer member of the community, but man, you did a fantastic job here for your first submission to a hobby challenge. Well done, sir. All right, now we've got somebody who's participated in his fair share of challenges and been a regular contributor to the community, and that's John Crier. John taking the old school Hydra here and making, frankly, not just a scenic base, but a little bit of a diorama. We've got the Dark Elves prodding this creature forward to clearly take out what is one soon-to-be very dead dwarf, and so I am in full support of this. But very fun conversion, very cool narrative in the scene, and I love that he used this old Hydra model. You know, this is the old metal one. I'm sure this piece weighs like 80 pounds because that Hydra was so heavy. But he really did a great job with this old model, brought it back to life and into a new life, really. And yeah, very, very cool, John. Super fun scene. All right, next up we've got Justin with the Old Blood on Carnosaur. And here we've got a great example of, some interplay between warm and cold colors using the blue and green of the Old Blood himself against the very hot, fiery Carnosaur. And I just, I really love the patterning he did on the skin here. The, like, sort of cracks that are coming down in that darker gray-black color. Those just look fantastic set against the bright red and orange of the skin. So very, very cool interpretation of this guy. Wonderful natural patterning. And yeah, super sweet. All right. Next up, no stranger to giant monsters. It's Lee Ashcroft and his Stardrake. Now, this obviously has a whole bunch of different things going on. Obviously, we've got the much bigger wings. We've got, this is basically his take on the Celestin Prime riding the Stardrake. Because why wouldn't the biggest, baddest dude around also have his own Stardrake? So he's got some conversions all over on the rider, the different wings from the Prime himself, the really, really giant wings. We've got a couple Liberators down on the base escorting him along, using other miniatures as basing material. I love it. And just a wonderful color selection of that, very sky blue combined with that fantastic sort of magenta color. It's just very rich. Really pops, And I love what he did with the horns, setting them as the gray color. I thought that was a very, very unique choice and helped to balance all the steel out on the rider. Very cleverly. I'm on to what you're doing there. All right. Next up, we've got the man, the myth, the legend. It's Maroc Wolf with the Wolf Droth. Yes, there isn't a miniature this man can't do something wolfy with or turn into a wolf. But it is in his name, so it's, you know, he does what it says on the tin. And he took the Magma Droth, and that face, he re-sculpted it with green stuff to be a more wolfen face. And I gotta say, I think he did a pretty darn good job. And I love the bright colors he picked here. Really pops. As always, his basing is super fun. Lots of interesting stonework and things like that. So Maroc is definitely pushing himself, as always, with a fantastic submission here for our challenge. Next up, Rasmus 7814 with the Penitent Engine. You have to love this model. The Penitent Engine, the Sisters of Battle themselves, so classic, so iconic. I am so happy that the Raging Heroes Kickstarter gives us back some plastic Sisters of Battle, but that's okay. We still have a love for the old metal ones too, and one in particular is the amazing Penitent Engine here, which Rasmus has done some very cool stuff with, including having this thing grip and rip a little Tyrannid. That's what's up in his hands. I don't know what kind of gaunt type creature that is, but it's one of them, and it's about to meet its deserved end at the hands of the Penitent Engine here. Very fun stuff. Rasmus also just taking it up on the basing with some nice bright colors. Lots of interesting little things going on down there. Way to go, bud. Looking good. Okay, next up we've got Ryan Easterling with a big old Knight Titan. Again, very fun base. Lots of little sort of that gothic scenery from the 40k universe scattered around the base. Fantastic color choice. And what I particularly love is if you look at that little crest that's on the Knight Titan's chest, that is Easterling's, that is his family's crest. So he actually took his family crest, put it on there, but used that as the basis for the color scheme of the miniature, which I think is super cool. Like connecting it to your own roots, your own history, and getting a really cool color choice out of it. Obviously a wonderfully smooth, fun paint job here on these very beautiful miniatures. And Ryan really executed really well in here. All right, next up we've got another new member of the community, and that's Sean Haskell with the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. Obviously, seen a lot of these kits. You know, this is a very popular release. I think Sean did some really cool stuff here. So, first off, we've got a lot of weathering and damage on the Orc's armor, some rust. Always good to see that. Sean's bone work here is really top-notch. He's got some great transition from the lighter tips down to the darks at the low points of the bone. That's looking great. His green choice really sets off against the Orc. And he carried the yellow of the armor down onto the Maw Crush's armor. And then on the base, he's got some nice elements. Like you see, he's got the little Dwarven barricade over there from the Battle for Skull Pass set, which is a nice little touch. And it's even been orcified with some additional orky bits added to it. So a lot of little attention to detail and very cool stuff that Sean has included on this very, very impressive model. All right. Now we have the first half of the Skull Bros with Mosk. So this is the Skull Bros, and there's two of them because they're bros. But so there's Mosk, and he's got the Idol of Shobik, which he converted up for 9th edition. Very cool. I've seen a couple different conversions of this guy, and I think he did a great job here. He's got some nice basing material down, the sort of toppled column with the Egyptian sort of hieroglyphs on it. The whole thing is sort of lit with the ghostly energy. Obviously very tough to do the inverse, where you have the inner folds lit up. Always tough to do convincingly, but I think Mosk did a great job here. So, very cool stuff, and that should be an awesome model for your 9th Age army. Okay, here we have the other half of the Skull Bros, Skull, with Ogre the Giant. Really fun use of the Reaper miniatures here. You cannot beat the value of the Reaper Bones minis, especially at these giants. I love Reaper Bones for giants and ogres and trolls, these big sort of monsters, dragons, stuff like that. You just cannot beat the price, and the detail level is great on the bigger models like this. Very fun color choice here with a very pale skin. We got some nice bruising going around. Also with the very orange sort of hair to set it aside from the fur that he's wearing on other parts of him as his clothes. So that's a nice little touch to make those in two separate colors. I thought this was a very cool giant. So we're happy to see Og, and apparently he's going to be staring down some Kings of War armies real soon. So very fun. Okay, and finally, Steve Wren with the Arachnorok. That's right, the big, scary spider. Here he is, and Steve is obviously going all out on the custom basing. You can see how much material and items and just various textures and flock and plants he's placed all over the base, in addition to using the sort of Martian iron earth to set down a more like iron-filled red terrain, something like a Utah, rocky Badlands terrain. I'm very much put in mind of something out of, War, the Warhammer Online or whatever when I look at this. But obviously great color choices. The beautiful red carapace picked off against the blue eyes that are carried up into the blue highlights up in the howdah with all the goblin feathers. Just absolutely stunning model here. Stunning paint job. Really, really great stuff. So, there you go. That's the submissions for our big boys. That's right. This was the Big Boy Challenge, and we had a lot of great painters step up and deliver some awesome miniatures. So, as I said, the link for voting will be down below. Go vote. There's all sorts of different categories that our budgeteers here can participate in and win in. So I hope to see lots of turnout for the voting. Remember, you have until August 14th at midnight to cast your vote. So please do that. If you'd like to join the PMP for our next hobby challenge, the link for that will also be down below. And our next hobby challenge will be starting up in September. So we'd love to have you along. As I said, the only requirement is you got to have a love of the miniature painting hobby and a desire to take the next step. If you've got those two things, it doesn't matter where your skill level is, we'd love to have you. So, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Thank you very much to everybody who submitted. All of your work was fantastic. I loved looking over it. I loved seeing all of it develop over the month. And I can't wait to see who our winners are. See you next time, everyone.